Today's talk is entitled, How Many Happy Holidays Are There? I saw a post on Facebook the other day, and there's a grumpy old man staring out at you, and you see these all the time because Facebook is just a giant time dump anyway, but there's all sorts of funny things out there, and on this particular one, the grumpy old guy's looking at you, and he says, so somebody at the store wished you a happy holiday and they ruined your day. Perhaps you should ask Santa to give you a life. Now, if that doesn't make any sense, it's a reference to the ongoing war on Christmas, and I did a talk on this last year, so I'm not going to regurgitate it, but it's the idea that if you're saying happy holidays, that you're really diminishing Christmas and trying to take away that Christian element of the holiday season. And, you could sort of just shrug that off and ignore it, but I did have a incident last year where I saw one of the many pundits on TV saying something like, what are we really trying to do with this happy holidays thing? We all know it's about Christmas. That's the one holiday we're really celebrating. Now, when I was growing up and listening to Christmas carols, as I love to do during this time of year, you've got one that says, Happy Holidays, and that never bothered me, but in my mind, there were three. There was, of course, Christmas, and no doubt, Christmas is the granddaddy of them all. I mean, that is the big holiday season that now starts before Halloween even hits in some stores. But there was also New Year's. That's a holiday. And then there was Hanukkah. Even as a little kid, I knew about Hanukkah. So there's your three holidays, and that's a plural, so you could sing Happy Holidays, and that was just fine, and it was inclusive. And I never thought that diminished Christmas in any way. But as I got older, I learned about, a few more holidays. I learned about the solstice, and of course that's been a holiday for longer than Christmas has been a holiday. The celebration that the days have stopped getting shorter and are now starting to get longer, and that long nights are starting to get a little shorter. And so that celebration's been around forever. And there are still more. I learned about some more this year. And so I thought, why not, instead of going over the holiday warfare that I did last year, or I've talked about Hanukkah and the solstice, why not look at some other holidays that you may not be aware of? I wasn't aware of some of these. And give a little more plurality to that phrase, Happy Holidays. And this is also, in a sense, a tribute to the fact that even though I do not normally do talks about holidays, I rarely have a sermon that's tied in directly to any other holiday. I've occasionally done something to tie into Easter, but other than that, you don't get Father's Day or Mother's Day or the 4th of July or Memorial Day or Labor Day or even Halloween or Thanksgiving. I don't tend to do that. But I have tended to do it at this time of year. And that just shows the power of the holiday season, even to someone who's conscientiously trying to ignore holidays when he stands up here and just talks about whatever the topic is that he's dealing with that week. Holidays win out. And so, this holiday season undeniably has a strong pull of everyone on everyone, regardless of their religious, philosophical, or ethical inclinations. Of course, you have the religious type of Christmas, celebrating the birth of Jesus. You have the secular Christmas with Santa Claus and flying reindeer and toys under the tree. And you can't get away from the Christmas music. It's everywhere, if you go shopping anyway. Decorations are all over the place. If you drive around at night, you get to see all the lights, and I love that. That's great. And this season is becoming longer and longer and longer. As I said, starting before Halloween on occasion, we actually did see Christmas decorations out before the Halloween candy was gone in some stores. So businesses love this time of year, and they're not going to let it die. But with that being said, we're going to sort of turn away from Christmas right now and look at a few other things. The first one, not necessarily celebrated today, but perhaps one of the forerunners of all of these, is Saturnalia, which was a Roman festival. It was in honor of the god Saturn, originally held on the 17th of December, and it got more and more popular to where it grew to being a week in length. So we see that trend even in ancient Rome of this holiday season getting longer and longer. Now this holiday included gift giving, feasts, and one thing that we don't do, the reversal of roles, where slaves would be waited on by the masters, and they could be king for a day, or master of the house for a day, or for several days, depending on how long the celebration was going on. And it was a time of great joy and happiness and celebration. It was tied into the solstice, and there's a lot of debate out there as to whether Christmas borrowed from this or not. And you'll find highly respected scholars on both sides of the argument. Undeniably, there are similarities. Whether Christmas directly borrowed from them or not, we don't know yet. But it was a time of celebration during the winter season as the solstice occurred, that now we know at least the days are going to start getting longer again, and winter will eventually end. There's another holiday, a distinctly Unitarian Universalist holiday, and this one's fairly new. Started in 2005, and odds are a lot of you haven't heard of this one. It's called Chalica. I don't think that was the response the creators wanted. And since this is going to be on YouTube, you all better behave. I'm going to read this from the Unitarian Universalist website describing this holiday. And this is a family type thing if you want to do it within your home. Got under control there? It did not occur to me that I would provoke uproarious laughter when I said Chalica. Chalica is a week-long celebration of our Unitarian Universalist principles. The holiday first emerged in 2005 out of a wish to have a holiday organized around Unitarian Universalist values. So it begins on the first Monday in December. It goes for 7 days, and each day a chalice is lit, and the day is spent reflecting on the meaning of that day's principle and doing a good deed that honors that principle. Now, not all Unitarian Universalists celebrate Chalica, but it has a growing following. And so if you're interested in this, it has a Facebook page, a blog, and there are Chalica-themed videos on YouTube. So I have not celebrated Chalica myself, but if you're interested in it, the resources are out there. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Here's another one. There's a good chance you haven't heard of it. I had not until this year, because I've been going out to the Nashville Zen Center and sitting and meditating with them. There is a December holiday for the Buddhists, and it's a big one. It's called Rohatsu, or Bodhi Day. It's celebrated on the 8th day of the 12th month, or the 8th of December. And on this day, Japanese Buddhists, so this is a Zen Buddhist holiday, celebrate the enlightenment of the awakening of the Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama. In Japanese Zen monasteries, Rohatsu is the last day of a week-long meditation period, or a session. It's very intensive, and all of one's waking time is dedicated to meditation. So even when not in the meditation hall, the participants endeavor to maintain meditation focus at all times, eating, washing, doing chores. And it's a week of silence. Silence is maintained unless speaking is absolutely necessary. So the celebration of this holiday is probably the exact opposite of a Christmas holiday. It's a time of deep contemplation and meditation, honoring essentially the birth of Buddhism, the enlightenment of the Buddha. In a Rohatsu session, it's traditional that each evening's meditation period is longer than the last one, and on the last night, they try to sit all night and stay awake and meditate. And the Zen Center in Nashville just celebrates the last day, and they did have an all-night meditation session. And no, I did not participate, because I don't stay up all night ever for anything, not even in college. If I wasn't ready for the test the next day, tough, I'm going to bed. But so that's Rohatsu, a very, very significant Buddhist holiday, also part of this holiday season. You have Kwanzaa, which was created in 1966 by a professor of African Studies at California State University, Maulana Karenga. It was created to be a cultural holiday. Initially, it was created to be an alternative to Christmas, but it's evolved into being something that can be celebrated by anyone from any faith. It's focusing on being a cultural holiday now rather than a religious holiday, and it's designed to celebrate the 7 communitarian African values. So you have unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. And this is celebrated from December 26th till the 1st of January, each day being devoted to one of these values. Then you also have a Hindu holiday. And this one's fairly new, and this one, by their own admission, was created to allow Hindu children to have a celebration similar to Christmas, where there's gifts and lights and presents and tinsel and all the things that their Christian friends had that they didn't have. So in 1985, Pancha Ganapati was created. It's a 5-day Hindu festival going from December 21st to the 25th in honor of Lord Ganesha, or Ganesh, patron of arts and guardian of culture. It's yet another holiday that falls into our holiday season, so when we say happy holidays, now we're including the Buddhists, the Hindus, the Pagans, Africans. We have all these different holidays that fall within the month of December. This particular one is interesting because instead of a Christmas tree dominating the living room, they have either a statue or a likeness or a painting of Lord Ganesh. He's also known as Pancha Ganapati, which is why that's the name of the holiday. He is depicted in this particular instance as a 5-headed god, although he can also appear with different heads, determining or as a representation of different values and different aspects of this god. So for this one, he's a 5-headed god, the 5 heads being elephant heads on a human body. A shrine is built to him in the living room and decorated differently each of the 5 days in a different color: yellow, blue, green, red, and then orange. Flashing lights and tinsel and ornaments are used. Gifts are brought for the children each day and placed under the tree, but not open until the 25th. A deliberate acknowledgement that Christmas morning for the Christians, and now this holiday for the Hindu children, so they can all open gifts at the same time. So it's very much like Christmas. It's designed to be beautiful with lights and then focusing on good values. Like one day will be a focus on love for family, the next will be focus on love for neighbors, and so on. But on that 5th day, the kids get to open their gifts just like all their friends. So increasingly in our modern culture, we are multicultural. And the phrase happy holidays is not just a sign of courtesy, or as some complain, political correctness gone amok. It actually has real significant meaning. That being said, there's no question that Christmas is the heavyweight of the season, and I have no problems wishing or receiving Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. I say both, I enjoy both, I take no offense at either, and I hope no one else will either. Because it's always said in a spirit of goodwill, I would think. So as a celebration of this holiday season, I wanted to conclude with a couple of little gifts, if you will, from the pulpit. One is a bit of insight that I received while reading something online, and the other is a bit of a preview. So we'll do the insight first. This comes from a Unitarian Universalist minister named Nathan C. Walker, who's just published a book entitled Exorcising Preaching. Not exercising like running or lifting weights, but exorcising like getting rid of something. If you exorcise a demon, you're getting rid of the demon. He's got things he wants to exorcise from his sermons. So the full title is Exorcising Preaching, Crafting Intellectually Honest Worship. Now, I haven't read the book, it just came out, but they had a lot of blurbs on the website and also portions of his sermon, and watching him is quite interesting. He's quite good. So if you want to look this up, get with me afterwards or send me an email and I'll send you the link. But this is quoting from the book. God talk born from banal platitudes diminishes the power of theology. I strive, and he's always talking about what he's trying to do, I strive to emancipate myself from such practices, beginning by taking the vow to speak only for myself. I will not speak for God, for scriptures, or on behalf of any religious community. Using I statements allows me to lay the foundation to transform theological cliches into hard-won lessons that lay claim to no celestial rewards. I do not claim to know, this is the best part right here, I do not claim to know if everything happens for a reason, or if a tragedy is really a blessing in disguise. Exiling these kinds of stock phrases is one step in my attempt to develop a principled, trustworthy ministerial identity. Now, I like this because, I've said similar things in the past, and I totally relate to this. And when you totally relate to something, naturally you're going to like it. But I think this is far more applicable than simply to someone who is a minister trying to work on their preaching. Rather, I think it's a great way to live all of our lives. That we try to avoid cliches and stock phrases and speaking for others and saying things we don't really know are true or not, and leaving room for the doubt. Probably the worst thing for someone undergoing a tragedy is for someone else to say that God has a plan for all this, or everything works out for good in the end or something, because you don't know that. You really don't. So just be honest, leave room for the unknown, and speak only for the things you understand and can speak to personally. That opens up, actually, I think, more opportunities for honest dialogue and interrelationship than claiming to speak for someone else or the workings of the universe or anything else. And so that resonated with me, and I thought, I'm just going to put that in at the end, because that was something that I think really does have application for all people, not just for a man writing about how to preach better or how he wants to preach better. The other little Christmas gift, if you will, is a sneak peek at stuff coming up, because our congregation has been going through a lot of change this year. There's been a lot of growth. As I mentioned, we just hit 50 members, which is a first since I've been here. I don't know if it's a first overall, but it's a significant number. And we are getting bigger, and we're starting to fill this room up. And as you know, over the last couple months, we've had meetings on Wednesday nights trying to figure out how we build for the future. Rather than trying to deal with it when it hits, trying to plan ahead. What are we going to do about ministers down the road? Because I'm not going to do this forever, and when I leave and someone else needs to come in, how do you do that when you're so small that you can't really hire a full-time minister? What do we do about the building? The one bathroom issue has been going on for years, and it is a problem, and when more people come, it becomes a bigger problem, and we understand that. So trying to figure out, can we modify this building? Do we have to go to another building? All these big questions are coming up, and so we are slowly working towards trying to deal with these. We've had some very good discussions on this, and my next sermon in January, we're going to go over this for those who couldn't come to the meetings, and so everyone is on the same page, because major decisions need to be made by the congregation. And this is not going to be something done by me or something done by the board, but something done by us together collectively, and that's important. So we want everyone to know what it is we've been wrestling with, the ideas we've come up with, the conclusions we've reached. So that will be coming up. Also next year, the board has approved me to look into the possibility of having a meditation night here at the church. And that'll be separate from the other things we do, but still part of the church, and something to open up to the community also. And we'll actually be having Nat Brown, who is the lead facilitator. He's actually ordained. He's a reverend. They don't necessarily use that title at the Nashville Zen Center. And he was very excited talking with me to hear that we might be willing to do something here. And he said, we could probably help you out. We could probably donate some cushions for you, and we could probably send some people down to talk and help out and get things rolling. So I'm not promising anything's going to happen, but next month I will be starting to send out things by email and newsletter and see if there's an interest in having Zen meditation here one night a week, and if anyone wants to come and participate in that. And that'll be opened up to everyone in the community. and that might be another way of outreach for us also. Of course, we also have the Pagan group here, and we open up this building for anyone in this congregation that wants to have group meetings of a sort like that. So if there's something you're really interested in and want to try to develop, just let us know, because this building stands empty most of the week, and we should make use of it as an outreach to our community and to help people as they are on that path searching for truth and meaning in their lives. So that's something else that'll be coming up. And so that's my sneak peek. More will be developed on both of those issues: buildings and facilities, future ministers, meditation night, and other things that other people might want to do. So I think that 2015 is probably going to be one of the more eventful years over the last decade. And I encourage everyone to be involved in all of these, the decision-making processes, the discussions, the inputs. We do want to hear from people. And I will conclude by saying, as we move into this, I urge everyone to remember, we're not rushing into anything. We're going to think about it long and hard. And no matter what decision we make, someone's not going to have wanted that particular decision. That's almost inevitable. The odds of having total unanimity on a decision is pretty small. But what we are going to try very hard to do is make the right decision, whatever that may be. And so I would encourage everyone to be part of that process, but also not to be disappointed if things don't go necessarily the way you would have chosen. And you might even have been right, and the group may choose wrong. But that's the process of being a congregation, the congregational polity, if you will, where we govern by the people. No one from outside comes in and tells us what to do. We wrestle with these decisions. So it's an exciting time. It's a time we should take seriously. And it's a time that we are going to approach with the greatest caution and diligence so that we do the best we can with our resources and to meet the needs of our congregation. So that much I assure you of. And join us as we go through that process next year. Finally, after you leave here today, I just want to wish all of you a happy and wonderful couple of weeks as we go into this holiday season, celebrating all these different holidays if they haven't already occurred that I discussed. I hope you can find peace in your heart and joy as you go on your way. So try to slow down and enjoy the uniqueness of this time of year. It's easy to get super busy. It's easy to get wrapped up in everything that's going on. Just try to calm down and relax and enjoy it, because it is a really great time for most folks. I acknowledge some people find this to be a very sad time. But for those of you who do enjoy it, I encourage you to really focus. Try not to let it rush by, and then suddenly you wake up and it's all gone. And where did the holidays go? It's an easy thing to have happen. And I finally wish that we may all have peace on earth and goodwill towards all people. Amen, and blessed be.